Hello and welcome to the Cold Coffee Club, a podcast brought to you by Houston Moms. We're here to give you a little bit of that mom-to-mom connection, fun, and conversation amidst all the chaos. Join us as we take a break from doing all the things and explore the wide spectrum of this crazy motherhood role. We'll interview fun guests, talk about cool grown-up topics, laugh, share, and grow together. So go ahead, reheat that coffee, and put your feet up. Here we go.
Hello, welcome to the Cold Coffee Club. This is Jenny.
And this is Ashley. Hey.
Hey, all right, Ashley, spill some tea. How's it going today?
Pretty good. So I'm still in recovery from traveling because I traveled to Dallas last weekend with my kids and my ex-husband. My in-laws had an event up there, and we got to go to the Dallas Cowboys game, which was
cool,
super exciting. I've never been to an NFL game, and I'm not a fan of the Cowboys, so let that be known. But I am a diehard Denver Broncos fan. But I got to experience that, and my boys thought it was the coolest thing ever. And we got to stay in a really cool Airbnb and just hang out for the weekend. But I swear, traveling takes so much out of me now. I'm just like, we're recording on a Thursday, and I got back early Monday morning, and I'm like, I'm sleepy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but also if you got back Monday morning and then Monday night would have been Halloween. And so we are still recovering from that, I'm sure.
Very true.
Just letting you know.
This is true.
But I will say that is like, even just that drive, Dallas is like a pretty hard drive from Houston and back, just because like it's just that straight shot and there's not a lot going on, and you have 3 children. So
this is true.
Give yourself some grace there. You're welcome.
You're welcome. How about some cream and sugar? Do you have any for us?
Yes. So we just kind of want to make sure everyone knows that we have a pretty exciting event coming up from Houston Moms. We are throwing one of our favorite events that we have done before. We did it last year. It is our Cookies with Santa event. Santa is coming. He is coming to town. I'll tell you that. You know, he's come. We have called him, and he said he'd be there. So it is on December the 4th. It's a Sunday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tickets are on sale. So last year, I will tell you, we had to like push people out the door when it was over. Yes. We had to say, hey, it's over. Santa needs to leave.
Yeah.
He's ready to go.
Yes.
So it was a good time is what I'm trying to say.
It was a great time.
So please, tickets are on sale. We have it linked in our little show notes here, but that is, we're really excited. We've been working really hard on it, y'all. So please get those tickies.
Yes.
This episode of the Cold Coffee Club is brought to us by WiddyUp. Traditionally, group or even individual fundraisers have been mostly about selling a product. But really, who actually needs another frozen cheesecake or roll of wrapping paper or a 3-wick candle? And then there's the hassle of taking the orders and, if needed, delivering that product when it comes in. It ends up being a lot of work with not much return on investment. But thankfully, there is a better way to fundraise a lot of money without the extra hassle of selling the product. And the best part, it gets kids involved and lets them showcase their talents and personalities. WiddyUp is a fundraising platform where kids create and share awesome videos with friends, family, and anyone else in a unique way to raise money. Houston native and former teacher Carter Higley founded WiddyUp in 2021 with a goal of making fundraising fun and both including and celebrating kids in the process. Signing up with WiddyUp is completely free, and participants keep 95% of everything they raise. To learn more, visit the link in our show notes or visit www.widdyup.com. Back to the show. Okay, what we're talking about today is our bodies after baby, which, you know, as we all are aging, even, you know, your body is just going to change as we get older, whether or not you've birthed children or not. But it is a topic that is affecting a lot of us. And so we're just going to kind of share our experiences and things we've noticed and just kind of, let's just have some girl talk here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's interesting. You know that your body's going to change after you have children.
mhm,
Um, you don't realize how you're going to accept it or whether or not you're going to accept it. So, like for
mhm,
me personally, I've for the most part embraced the change. I think it's kind of awesome. Like, oh, I've had babies. I mean, this is of course I'm
mhm.
different. Um, but the muffin top that I can't seem to get rid of, it is, it is what it is, but it's kind of annoying. I'm like, can you not? Like, I'm
Mhm. Can you
trying. Can you
not?
stop what you're doing?
This is rude. If you
Yeah,
would just
it's
stop.
very
Yeah.
rude for you to hang
Yeah.
around. My youngest is 5. Like, it's time for you to go.
Hmm.
But it is what it is, and I'm dealing with it. So yeah, what are
Yeah.
you?
Well, I had 2 C-sections.
Mhm.
Um, and so, when we're cutting through some stomach there.
Yeah.
And one thing that took me a while with both kids, and thankfully I was a little bit more prepared for it with number 2.
Mhm.
I obviously understood there was going to be a scar. Like clearly that was fine.
Mm.
But if you're listening and you're a C-section mama, you're going to understand what I'm talking about. After the scar heals, and I'm telling you, this lasted about a year or more with both children, there is what you call the shelf.
Mm.
There is this little puffy section of skin that kind of sits just above the scar for
Okay.
about a year. That just is like this little, I called it my shelf, that just sat there. And you were like, what are we doing here? What is happening here? What are what is this moment? Why is this a thing? And it would just sit there. And like my scar it doesn't go across your entire waist,
Yeah.
it's like only, this big. And so it was just this little moment, that this little, looked like a little, I don't know. It was very weird. And that drove me crazy
Yeah.
because it was like, even as other things were kind of going back to where they, or just maybe like where you didn't look pregnant anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then you just had this little bulge that
Yeah.
just sat there, and you were like, but why? That wasn't even there during the pregnancy. Why is it here now?
There are new
Um,
developments that I didn't
and it's like,
ask
I
for.
can handle a line being
Yeah.
there. Like, I'll put some, Moderna on that and we'll call that a day. Like, I don't mind, but anyways, like that, it
Yeah.
was just very awkward.
Yeah.
Um,
One thing I was not prepared for was changes in my hair. I
mm.
There was a point where I was panicking because I would take a shower, wash my hair, and it was just chunks of
Mm.
hair and I'm like,
Yes.
this can't be normal. And I had to Google it and ask my midwife at the time. I was like, what is happening? Because this can't be right. And then the texture of my hair changed. It went from like it was like thick and coarse and like wavy, much like
Sure.
how it is now. But then it went to like Oprah hair, like in the 90s, like this like bouncy, but it was like more fine. It was weird. And I was just like, this isn't my
Yes.
hair. This is not right at all. So then
Yes.
I was losing it and it was fine and straighter. So then you could notice that you were losing it. I was just like, I can't do this. I can't. I cannot do this.
Yes.
It was
I got this
terrifying.
weird little section of hair, like right here, that would just like stick straight up. It was growing up. Like it didn't, I was like, what? And you couldn't get it to lay down.
Yeah.
And I would go to my hairstyle, like I would go get my hair cut. And I'd be like, are we gonna,
Can we address
can
this?
we? And she was like, it's gonna work itself out
Oh,
eventually.
wow.
Everything took forever. I think also just like changes in, just of course, like our breasts over
Mhm.
time it got so much bigger for me during pregnancy, and
Mhm.
they were already big.
Yeah.
And if you've listened to our episodes, you know that just a couple months ago I had a breast reduction,
Mhm.
and that was something that I think really your body is, you start to feel like over time as a mom that like it's like this was like it's no longer my own, is kind of
Mhm.
how I started to feel. It's like this doesn't even feel like they're mine anymore. And
Yeah.
um I just kind of, that was kind of a way I kind of took it back in a little bit,
Mm.
was just going like,
Yeah.
I need to just declare that like this is not me anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to have this, perfect 10 anything, I wasn't, not that, I mean, if that's something that's super important to you, then that's fine. But that wasn't me trying to make myself into something I'm not. I just needed to feel a little bit more like myself. And, but I will say something that has been helpful is that after there were times that I felt really sad about I would like look in the mirror and feel sad about like what I had, quote unquote become. But then like one day I realized was like, I look exactly what I'm supposed to look like right now.
Yeah.
Like this is what my body is supposed to have done.
Yeah.
This is what I'm supposed to be. And just like we have stages, if I were to look at my daughter right now, who is a 10-year-old, and if she were to say, I'm sad I don't look like a 16-year-old, it's like, well, you're not supposed to right now. You're at a stage of your development that you're not supposed to look like a teenager. You're supposed to look 10, we're not developmentally there. And there's a little bit of like, after you have a baby, developmentally, this is what you're supposed to be doing, and I felt like I needed to honor that and honor that, like, this is just like your body is supposed to look one way at 8 months pregnant, like this is what that was supposed to be. And just
and it
letting
can be really hard to accept that. Like, it's hard to, and like you mentioned your breast changing, and like, I was a C cup before my kids. 2-3 days after each one was born, I'd go and they're like, you're measuring like an F. What is going on? Like, that's a lot. And I'm like
how
I know.
Drastic of a change that is to go through in a matter of days.
It is a lot, like in days, exactly. And then I breastfed my kids about 2 years each kid. So when I look at my body, it is not what I looked like at 24 when I had my first. And so and now that I'm single and starting to hang out with like single friends, a lot of them don't have kids, and I'm like, oh, you look nice, and I'm like, but Ashley, you've had 3 babies. You're not the same. It's just it's different. Well, accept that.
I've been noticing too, culturally, there is a difference now than there was like when we were in college or high school, whatever. Like, I've seen even comparisons that like magazine covers when we were growing up and when we were kind of coming of age, they would use the word skinny. Like we talked all the time about being skinny. And foods were marketed as skinny this and everything was skinny. And it was just ingrained in us that we had to be thin. Like, I've seen things now where girls that are now like in their early 20s will like react to commercials that we were shown, or react to magazine covers of like people showing Britney Spears at our age, and people showing a magazine photos of her side by side. And the magazine literally is like, has Britney put on pounds? And it says that, and people are like, they put this in a magazine? And it's like, yes, it was drilled into us at that age. And so, yes, like we do every moment look in the mirror and grab our waist and grab our stomach. And I'm so thankful that our girls are not being raised in that culture. However, it's hard to untrain our brains from thinking that all the time, that we are being constantly harder on ourselves even in the world than the world is being on us. That there is such a bigger emphasis on maybe health than there is on just skinny, and I just hate, I don't even like using that word anymore. But
It's crazy that was desirable. Like we were just like, I want to be as thin as possible, please. And it's like, but why? Like, why? I will tell you, that is the reason I quit dancing, because I was in dance and all the girls in my class were very, very thin. And I was just built differently. I was more athletic build, more muscular, and I was just thicker. And that just was what it was.
Yeah.
I quit dance because I felt uncomfortable and I felt awkward. And thank goodness for progress, because it's not the same world anymore, which
you know,
I can be very thankful for.
There is a kind of like I don't know, I guess, a term I would say going around right now where they talk about, you know, how there's like helicopter moms or tiger moms or whatever. Yeah. There's a term that girls that are like of, you know, teenager age right now are using right now called almond moms. And almond moms are these moms that are now like in their 40s or 50s that were probably raised in the same era we were. That like they use it as like they only eat like almonds and, you know, like a stick of celery for lunch, and they drink water, and they really enforce it upon their daughters that you need to be, you know, eating a certain way and don't eat that. And oh no, you can't have a second helping. And because they were raised in this way of like, you can't have seconds, and oh, I already ate, so I can't have dessert. And it's so like these girls are kind of talking about, my mom is an almond mom.
Oh gosh.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like these girls, you know, young ladies are realizing it, like how toxic it is. And their moms aren't trying to be mean or hurtful or anything. They're just realizing they're just putting on to, this is how they grew up. And so they're going, well, this is how we have to live our lives, you know. Like, oh, I already had one bite, I can't have two.
Oh gosh. That's miserable, having that kind of mindset when you have children. You are going to get bigger. It's just life. And there were times during at least my first pregnancy where you know, I had an OB whose nurses would comment on my weight. Like I would go and step on the scale and they're like, wow. And I gained about 55 pounds with my first. And I was so miserably sad, because it was just like, am I doing it wrong? Like I clearly this is not my jam, because I'm too big. And it was really sad. And you know, it's hard in this culture still that we still deal with, just, you know, especially how we were raised. You want to still be skinny while you're pregnant. What is that?
Yeah. Oh, I remember posting as a joke, but it was like a side by side. So when I left the hospital with Ellie, it was like 4 days postpartum, or 3 days. I had stayed a while because I had a C-section.
Yeah.
And when I left, because of like the drugs and stuff and everything, I was super puffy when I left the hospital. My face was really full. And I just was really, and it was July, it was hot, and I just was really swollen and just big old chipmunk cheeks. And I just, you know, I wasn't looking my best, but I was happy, and it was like taking my baby home. And so there's this picture of me like putting her where she's in the back of the car, and I'm like kind of leaned over, and I'm, you know, like, oh, it's my baby, whatever. And I just look awful, but whatever. Well, I did a side by side, because shortly thereafter, it's like the photo of like Kate Middleton leaving the hospital the day she had the baby. And she's got a blowout and a dress and pantyhose and heels. And she looks just a stick, you know, and it's just like, what are we doing? And so I did like the side by side and was like, samesies, look at us, twins. And again, like, but someone wrote in there, they're like, you know, she's wearing a diaper under that dress. Like, she's wearing the big pad under it. And it's like, that's so true, because she has to be.
She has to be. And
at the same time, I feel sad for her that she had to have someone come in and do a blowout.
Serena, you know, Williams and I were pregnant at the same time, and she like won the US Open or something. And I was like, I threw up today. I was like, whatever, it's fine. It's like she's doing stuff. I vacuumed and I
Oh,
threw up.
look at you winning the US Open.
I know.
Look at you.
Whatever.
We're thrilled for you.
Yeah.
Just
Whatever.
thrilled.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I'm not trying to dog on Kate Middleton, whatever.
not at all.
But like, it was just funny because
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever looked worse.
Yeah.
Like, well, look at you.
Yeah.
With her magic hair. Like, okay.
Yep.
Like I've never seen
one change that I did not, I guess I knew, but I didn't know how long it would last. So you are having a baby. And yeah, for C-section, there's like a lot of physical things that you have to chill for a while.
Right.
I thought giving birth vaginally, like things would be different and I would feel great and just be up and at 'em pretty quickly. You don't realize that your body has just gone through something. And, that's why they say, you have to wait 6 weeks till you have sex and stuff like that. But I didn't realize that my body just changed. Like things that worked for me before did not work anymore. And it's just like, nope. And it's like, and haven't, like, it's not the same.
Yep.
And I did not realize that was going to be a forever, at least for me, a forever thing. Like I'm just different now. And it's insane how your body went through such a big thing. And then it's just like, okay, well, now we've changed and here's where we are. And this is how it's going to be. And I'm like, oh, okay. Hormones are working against you and just physical, just your body is working, doing its thing. And it changes so much for you. I did not see that coming and it is okay. I'm just like, nope.
It's truly like a miracle. Like what is happening? I mean, everything
insane.
I mean, the fact that we go through it multiple times.
We're still walking around.
That we still, I mean, and that's so true that like, in so many other countries and cultures, a woman has whether it's family members or a village that helps step in and take care of her. For whether it's weeks or months or whatever, and here we just kind of go back to life like very very quickly, and largely on our own, is just really we are strong. We are very strong. We are very strong and
a little too strong
and stronger than we need to be. It's like it's very hard on us, and it makes me sad that we are that we have to be that strong. And but the hormones are very real, and as much as our body is changing, your life is changing so much. And we didn't talk about this before, but we had asked on Instagram a couple of weeks ago. I kind of did just like a fun question where I'd asked people on Instagram, what was the bigger change for you as a mom? Was the bigger change going from 0 to 1 baby, or 1 baby to 2 babies? What was like the harder transition? And we had all kinds of different answers, and some of them were funny, and but I'll have to go back and find it. But someone had wrote just like, oh, I've just gone from 1 baby to 2, and it has been so hard. Like, and she just said, I'm struggling. And I remember going from 1 to 2. I remember being here at my house in my living room, and Jack was about 6 weeks old. And for me, with both my kids, 6 to 8 weeks was always the hardest for me in that baby stage. I mean, now that, we're older and we have lots of hard stages, but in that season of life, 6 to 8 weeks was really hard for me. And I remember balancing him as he was crying and being so sore and crying myself because I was so tired and everything hurt. And I remember that in that moment feeling like I am going to put him down and he's going to cry or he's going to sleep. And then I'm going to have to do this again in 2 hours over and over and over again.
Yep.
And I felt so gross and I wanted to take a shower and, I just remember crying and being like, this is never going to end.
Yeah. Yep.
And so I just am saying this to encourage anyone who's listening that's kind of in the thick of it right now. Like, it is going to end.
Yep.
It really will.
Yep.
I promise. Yeah. We are with you.
Yes. We are. Let's move on to our house blends. What's your house blend this week?
Okay, so for house blends, we want to make sure y'all know about that we are every week sharing some family-friendly activities to do in Houston, that we have kind of gathered some things that we find that some of it is free, some of it is, we're listing the prices that we can find on our website, but these are things to do with your families, some stuff that are outdoor, indoor, the arts. So go check that out. And if you know of anything coming up, shoot us a message and let us know, and we'll see if we can include it. Yeah. What's your house blend this week?
Yeah, so we're heading into the holiday season and we all have a bunch of stuff, I'm sure, that we can afford to get rid of and make room for more stuff. And so we have a post, it's called Where to Donate Your Used Items in Houston. And it's just a great way to help you find a great place to donate. And get rid of all that stuff. And some of them will pick up for you. Some you can just drop off yourself. Some are bins around the city that you can go. And a lot of them have a really great mission. And, they're trying to eliminate waste and stuff like that. So you can go look for those and donate your used items there.
So wait, are you saying that keeping it in the trunk of my car for a year is not the best place?
I mean, considering how expensive gas is right now and you're just adding more weight to your car, I'd say stop that.
Shocking.
Maybe stop.
So it's not helping anyone if it's in my car.
It is not. If anything, it's hurting you.
What?
I have literally cut across several streets because I saw one of those bins and I was like, oh yes, it's going. It is going today.
I don't know what's wrong.
Yes.
You just have the highest of hopes for yourself.
Alrighty. As always, we finish up our episode with a see you later caffeinator.
Yes.
In keeping in theme with what we're talking about today, we found an incredible post online. It's called 8 Ways to Overcome Negative Body Image After Baby. And Jenny and I were reading this and we're just like, yes, 100% yes. We will put the link in our show notes. It talks all about, aiming for body neutrality over positivity and just being real about it. Like, I don't have to love my body in this stage of motherhood or whatever. I can just be like, it is what it is. And we're okay with that. Cool.
Yes.
And it is written by her name is Darian Healy, and she's a fitness instructor. She has designed classes that are specifically for women who are pregnant or postpartum. And she seems like a great person to kind of check out and see what kind of her insights are. So again, this is called 8 Ways to Overcome Negative Body Image After Baby. And we will share that in our show notes. It is an incredible post. So yeah.
Thank y'all for listening. And please, subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review. We would really be thankful, and share it with a friend.
Yeah, share it with a friend. Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Y'all have a great day.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, wait, before you go, enjoy a few outtakes from this episode of the Cold Coffee Club. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna stop here so that it'll be easier to edit and put it in. I'm just gonna start stopping from the cream and sugar.
You've been listening to the Cold Coffee Club, brought to you by Houston Moms. We wish you a fabulous week with your families and look forward to sharing many more cups of cold coffee with you.